Good morning. I'm John McClure, and I'm the host of our God at Work series that we've been conducting over the last several weeks. We're glad you could join us this morning. We have a great panel lined up today. We have Dusty Johnson from Johnson & Stivender Investments. We have Diana Albritton from Albritton Insurance Services, and we have Tanya Khan from Organically Local. And we're just delighted that you could join us here today as we discuss God at work and how God has been in the lives of each of these individuals that we have here joined with us today. Just a quick plug for our coffee service. The church also does, it takes organic coffee beans from Peru. We have a connection there with another minister in Peru, and we create this coffee. We take the beans and we actually roast them here. We sell the beans whole. We grind the coffee beans up and sell the bags of beans. I would like to point out that we also have a little trailer that sells the coffee. It's on Ridgewood, North Ridgewood Drive, right across from the bicycle shop. And the interesting part about the coffee ministry is we use all of those proceeds for charitable purposes. So every nickel that comes into the proceeds are used to help others. We're working on getting a list together, the amounts that we've been able to raise and spend for this purpose, and we'll share that with you very shortly. But today, I hope you don't mind the plug. So today we'll start off with our God at Work series. We've been discussing with different panelists how God affects your life and your work. And so, Dusty, let's start off with you. Do you feel that God has called you to do what you're doing at work?
I definitely do. I've always been kind of the type of person that is wanting to help out people and help people in that have needs. And being it as a financial advisor, people are always coming to us for help of trying to figure out their finances or trying to figure out if a loved one just passed away, how are they going to survive on the incomes that they have and what they need to do. So we do a lot of guiding in our office and a lot of counseling of just trying to show people the right path that they should be taking to help have themselves have a sustaining life and not have to worry about it as much as they think they need to.
That's a great point. Often we think of work as something we have to do or someplace we have to go, and that's really not the case. Almost every business that exists today exists for what reason? To meet the needs of somebody else, right? So
and
Diana?
actually, at the end of the day, I always, in my heart, I always say, to my spouse, because he's the only one in the house right now. Our daughter's all grown up. The dogs, they like to listen to me, but I like to say, oh, I helped so and so and so and so, and what an incredible day I had, and so I feel very blessed for 16 years that I've been Albritton Insurance Services, and it was because of a fork in the road that actually put me in this position. So just like you, I'm very excited. I have what I do, and it's what my expertise is, but at the same time, there's a deeper level of what I'm offering folks, and I feel it when they're across from me, or I'm just talking to them on the phone. So
I think God uses those forks in the road to give us the direction He wants us to go.
There was no speed bump for me from that point on. Can't slow me down.
That's right.
So Tanya, how do you feel about this? I know that we've talked in the past about Organically Local, and so why don't you tell us a little bit about your calling to that?
I think that it's very similar kind of for all of us, is that we deal with such a different variety of people throughout the day. We deal with a lot of sick people, and I feel like that's the one that's closest to my heart because my mom passed away from cancer, and so for me, I'm just really about health, and we have so many immunocompromised customers that come in on a daily basis, and to me, we help them so much, and we get these success stories back and this feedback, and on your bad days, it just pulls you through, and on your good days, it just lifts you even higher. And so for us, it's just, we have a really good feeling at the end of the day. We feel like we've done something when we leave work. which is a good feeling.
It's
It
sort of
doesn't
like
feel
when-
like work anymore
I'll never
sometimes.
forget back when I was in high school, and over the PA system, the principal said, "Hey, kids, if you're going to get high on life."
Yeah.
And I've held on to that my whole life, and I listened to what you just said, and I go, "Yes, that's how I
Yeah,
feel at the end of
yeah.
the day."
We just have so many people. We have people that come in and cry, and then we cry with them. And I think that's the nice part about having a small town and a small business is it's real,
Yes,
and we
yeah.
hug
Yeah.
and we love and we're thankful. And there's so many good things that
It's just like we
come
walked
from it.
in and with the three of us, and I said, "I
Yeah.
don't know what it is,
You
but I've
wanted
got
to
this
hug?
hugging me, and I can't do it right now."
I would have hugged
I
you.
just want to hug you. So,
I think we see that a lot. Yeah. You know,
Yes.
Just as an aside, not to take this too much further, but my daughter lives in New York City. And I can tell you now that you don't go up to somebody and hug them. You don't have those things. It's just a different world there,
Yeah.
And I think they've lost something huge that we have here that,
I agree.
that others don't have. And,
I agree.
These relationships, we talked about that a couple times last week, about how relationships are just so important
They are.
in lives. And when you think about the two greatest commandments that we have, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength, and love your neighbor as yourself, those are relationships. Those are two relationships right there that's what the world is all about. That's why we're created. And I think that's just very interesting.
We see that a lot at our store too, because everybody, especially during, we were just talking a few minutes ago before we started the live, that how everybody was pulling together through this coronavirus, and Bob and Tiffany Kasdal were at our store volunteering. I mean, the people from Fade had come down to Organically Local and volunteer for the quarantine market, and then and just different businesses were sending their children. Brittany from Cutting Up was sending her teenagers over to help, and everybody was just pooling in, and you would never get that in a big crowded town. It's just our little community that really makes things like that happen. So it's been a very interesting past 5-6 weeks
and
here.
I think we can agree to this because we've had several hurricanes come through here.
Oh, yeah.
And each one has made our community stronger and stronger. And so I don't know, but this is me personally, but when the virus came, I said, I'm ready.
Right.
I'm prepared.
Well,
Where so many people in other counties or other
We've
states were
pre-gamed
not.
this for years.
Right.
We're like, and we know that importance, community is important.
Yep.
So during this hurricanes, yes, it was very upsetting and there were troubled times, but the gain was so much bigger. And so to look at our community, that's, look at our numbers and the things, I mean, we took it serious. We knew, hunker down, be home, be there when you can, and then be smart.
Well, it's so interesting to talk to people that are new to the area that have spent time here. They just moved here and now they've lived here for several months or a couple of years, and you always hear them say it's amazing how strong this community is, of how supportive they are of other people during crisis and even out of crisis. It's just a very loving and supporting community that you don't really see like in New
But
York.
I think
or in
that
other
starts at the
areas.
top. You
It
look at
does.
our leaders that we have, our churches. I
Yep.
mean, it's not, church here, church here. They're churches like this. They're
Right.
working together, and they've actually been doing that for a long
Yeah.
time. So we were ready.
Yep.
I mean, you're never ready for negative, but we were ready.
Right.
So the
Our
best we
community is
could
really
be.
something to be proud of at the end
Yeah,
of the day. It really is. It's
absolutely.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, like right now, if I have clients that call me, they're at a level of, they're tense. And I can be intense too. But I know that I've just got to sit back and listen and be that person that when they picked up the phone to call me, I'm calling Diana right now. And right now I got little chill bumps because there's several stories that I can think of that I had to sit still and listen and then say, do you know what? It's all going to be okay. And they're like, it is? And I said, yeah, let me tell you how it's going to work
Because they're in
out for you.
crisis fit when they call you. Something
Yeah,
is probably happening.
I'm
Correct.
a problem solver of fear. When I had breast cancer, I can't remember, 18 years ago, my fear was not cancer or dying. It was insurance. So I'm in a perfect position when people are afraid and fearful. I know
You've
how
already
to
been
be
there.
there for
Yeah.
them.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor.
That's a great comment.
Yeah.
Sometimes God brings catastrophe into our lives, as many people would consider cancer to be. And yet from that flows something very positive.
Absolutely.
You're not the first person I know who has had cancer, and as a result of the cancer, they have changed their lives and turned in a direction that is positive to help others.
Yeah.
My
And
brother-in-law.
I was
yeah.
working with some great financial advisors back then, Del Grubb and Mike Fitch. I mean, wow, they mentor me to, I really, every time I see them, I give them a lot of credit for who I am. As far as, you know, when you're like working with financial, I'm working with insurance, whatever you talk about between you and I is between you and I. And so for me to transition and to be my own business owner, and they were a broker, but I'm in the health insurance business, is that I don't know, do you ever feel like, wow, everyone that has been in my life is just put me where I am, and I'm just so grateful for all of them and everything that has happened. And you just, like I said, remember when I said when someone would call me, I've just got to sink in the chair and be quiet? And one thing I've learned through COVID, because most people look at me like I'm an extrovert, I'm an introvert. I like my quiet time, and I like thinking. I'm an overthinker. I like planning. I love people. Some people I don't know. I'm just kidding. No, but I do. And then through this, I think I said, well, Diana, you're an introvert, extrovert. And now I'm like, oh, God, am I an introvert? Who am I? And so we were talking earlier about, have you changed? Do you feel any different? And I feel stronger about that. I'm okay with being an introvert when I want to be an introvert. That's what I've gotten out of this. And it's, I mean, I don't know. Desi, you feel any different? I mean, you're with your wife and the kids, and you're still trying to do things because you're essential.
Right, yeah, definitely. I mean, it has, you know, my wife and I were just talking about it the other day. It's just, my wife travels a lot, works over in Palm Beach 2-3 days a week, so, and just in other general travels, and so it's just been nice that we've all been together as a family. It's been chaotic a little bit working with two little ones running around the house
Yeah.
with both of us working, but we were actually saying last night, it's going to be kind of weird and, sorrowful that we're not going to be with the kids all day
Yeah.
long here in the next, coming weeks or whatever.
Because there's been a blessing in this bad.
There has.
Absolutely.
And,
It really
right
has
now-
been.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing on Facebook right when all this was coming, of like people saying, the kids are going to remember all this family time together. They're not going to really remember the virus. It's just going to be
Yeah.
a lot of togetherness. And I think that's a very unique opportunity that
I think some
none
new
of us really
traditions
had.
have been built
It
out
is.
of this.
It is.
I'm sure in your house. I mean, I kind of miss that we don't have children to
Right.
do this with right now.
I've been
So-
very thankful for this downtime, and I've had to be very careful because I do have fellow businesses that we are close to that are not, because they're really being affected by this very negatively. And so it's been kind of like a weird thing. Like, do I announce daily how thankful I am for this break,
Right.
Yeah.
or do I hold it back a little bit because I want to be respectful for the people that are hurting? But I mean, honestly, my heart is singing through this break because we've had
Yeah.
downtime. We've been at home together. We've been able to help people more individually, which for me, the one-on-one of helping, we've been dropping boxes off to people behind closed doors. We have a homeless man that lives near us. We've been making sure he has blankets. We've been able actually to do things that we want to do that we normally have no time for. So for me, this break has felt so good because we
Yeah.
have all this time. And I don't know. There's been negative of this break. I mean, the quarantine market nearly killed me, but literally, I would be sick for 2 days, which a lot of people don't know. The behind the scenes was after quarantine market, about a day and a half to 2 days. It was like flu-like symptoms from the stress. I'd be down, and it would knock me out. But next week we'd be up doing it again, and Stephanie kept saying, are we doing this another week? I'm like, we're doing it another week. We're doing it another week, because it was such a,
There
if
was
you
a
were
need.
in our line, the need
was
that
a
was
need.
there. And I
Yeah.
couldn't stop doing it. And it was killing me, but I couldn't stop
You're the hands
because
and feet.
it was what I was supposed to do. And that goes back from a long history. My whole family for 100 years in Sebring have dedicated their time to
Yes.
some sort of community service of
Yes.
some sort, every single one of them. So I feel like it's just in my blood naturally to want to help this community out. And it was so important to them, and something that was so important to them on so many different levels of the Kahn family feels very important to me just naturally. And so I just have this want to help, and this feeling that I can't.
Well, and God's put you in a
Stifle.
position and the business that you have that you can, just like you
Yeah.
said, what's the one thing, other than toilet paper, which I don't get, that people needed?
Food.
It was food.
Food.
Yes.
And
the
so many
food.
businesses had the, we had the ability to do it, and others did, and I think that it just came down to time
Yeah.
and your love of your community too. And I think that being a fourth generation local here really made me go, okay, stop, I have to do something. So that's what we did. I said, well, I have all these resources. Why don't I not use them, The drive-through was kind of shanky. It was an odd operation. And the Sebring PD, God love them, were out there every week trying to help us get traffic kind of, because some of the line a couple times was well over a mile long. I mean, there was hundreds of cars. So it got a little crazy. Some people waited an hour and a half at times, in that line. But they'd order from D's walk food to their car. It was so fun.
Yeah.
It was so fun. It was like businesses helping businesses all in one line. I don't know. It was just really fun.
Yeah.
It was really nice. Yeah.
You describe that as being fun, and no, you're not know where I'm going. You don't know where I'm going. But the bottom line is, a lot of things you said, post-hurricane recovery stuff, helping others recover, Ginger and I recall, went to Wauchula after one big storm I think it was Charlie in 2004. A lot of flooding,
Oh,
a lot
that
of
was a bad
it was
one.
horrible damage. But yet, it was so enjoyable each day just to get out there and help others.
Yep.
We had the chainsaws out, we had everything going, and cleaning up, and you just had a sense of well, thank goodness I don't have to go to work
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Right.
But yet you're working
You are.
harder
You're
than you
working
ever
harder.
worked at work.
I described it as childbirth. It was like every week it was so miserable, and then you'd forget how bad it was the week before, so you'd go do it again. It was like my childbirth quarantine market. It was terrible. And then next week I'd be like, okay, it's Tuesday, let's
Can't
do it
wait.
again.
Also,
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Let's
do it again.
We actually had power. We've run a community without power.
I know. It was like
So I'm like, I
luxury
have
Canaan.
AC. We're good. We're good. We can take care of people.
So let's ask this question. We talked about time, about time to focus. What are some things that this COVID-19 thing has taken away from you that you treasured? Can we think of anything that would fall in that category?
Well, I think that one thing that I think that stands out in my head when you said that is the routine. The
Yes.
routine that was
Yeah.
nice. If you're a routine-based person, it
Yes.
was nice to have a routine in
Yes.
line every day.
Yes.
And I think that also as business owners, you kind of develop a rapport with your customers. You know which ones come on Tuesday, which ones you see for this, which ones you see for that. And that was kind of something that taken away, that we have a lot of people that we're invested in now because we've grown to love them through our business. And not seeing them every day. I have one, obviously I'm not going to say her name, but one very, very sick customer, and she's my favorite. I can't help it. And she's all alone, and I worry about her every day, and not being able to see her is something that has really scared me. So, because she's just so fragile. And so that's something I think that has affected me negatively, is that I lay at night and I worry about
You're
her.
always there for people.
I think about her all
Yeah.
the time. I text her. I have her phone number now. I got it before quarantine. And we've dropped her off food throughout the whole quarantine, but I worry about her. When I can't see her, she's one of my favorite people, so yeah.
One thing, just listening to you talk, it really strikes me, and here's what it is. Some people would look at a restaurant or a sandwich shop as just that, and nothing more, place to go eat. But what you're telling me is that's not for you what that is at all. It's a ministry for you. And that you have opened this up, and that you feel God leading you through what you do, that you have an empathy with your clientele, and you really
Not all of them, but most of them. There's always a few that you're like, don't you want to go to D's or somewhere? I'm just kidding. But yeah, but most of them we really do. We really, how do you not love people? How do you not care about
Even
people?
with their quirks and everything.
Yeah.
You're just like, wow, you're just a little different, but
Yeah.
so am I. And you know what?
Yeah.
People love me.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's like with I think everybody's clients. I mean,
Yeah.
you do it for so long. I mean, they kind of become part of your family.
Yeah.
So, I mean, luckily we've been able to do, I'm sure like you, Zoom
Yes.
meetings, so you get to see some of them, but
Yeah.
you know, not all of them. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's
Yeah.
different seeing them on a video versus being in person and interacting with them
Or
and
seeing them with
being
the
able to
hat.
hug them
Yeah.
or whatever. But yeah,
Like,
it's just.
I was
that,
just thinking
you know,
today, my clients should be receiving a postcard from me, and it says, "I'm thinking of you. You're essential to me," and making sure
That's
that they
sweet.
have all of my
That's good,
contact
yeah.
information, and that I'm not. I didn't distance myself from them because. You know, I know more and more people are at home and maybe they're gardening and they're doing different things, but in the back of their mind, they're thinking, I wonder, I wish. And so I thought, I need to be there for them in front of them. This is May, what phase 1 just started, you know,
Right.
for Florida. And moving forward to phase 2, phase 3, wherever it goes, you know, I want them to know that I'm here. I'm not hiding, and I am working.
Right.
Yeah,
I haven't taken a day off.
I know. That's what we said. We said
I
that
work till 9 o'clock Monday
yesterday.
night.
Everybody, a lot of people have taken this time, and we
Yes.
said, because Stephanie's like, I don't want to start till June 1st because of, you know, the whole scare, and plus I need some time. And I was like, we haven't taken time off
Yeah,
yet.
no.
We've been working this whole time. I think we've worked harder
Yeah.
this whole time than we did
Yes.
before.
Yeah, you know, this sounds kind of weird, but I kind of, like we talked about, appreciate this time. But I do appreciate, because I'm remember I said a thinker, a planner. So when things happen in my life, because I've had, we'll just call them storms, and I mean, they're not storms where for some people they may knock them down and they won't stand, but I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm going to learn from this, you know, how you hang onto the steering wheel, you know, because I've been caregiver for parents. I mean,
You're a busy girl.
I just, a lot of things. And, but I'm also I'm the silver lining girl. I'm like, what is going to, you know, something good is going to come out of this. And so I do. I sit down at my desk and I say, all right, what am I supposed to, what direction should I be going? What lesson will I learn from
Am I supposed
this?
to
And
see
how
in
will
this?
other
Yeah.
people gain from this? And one thing I did, Lunch Club Wednesdays, a club I started for women, I can't even remember when, I think 2004.
Oh my gosh, years ago. Yeah, because
Yes.
Gunner was a baby.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I remember this is uncomfortable for me, but I'm doing it. And I'm okay because I'm with friends. But I'm also uncomfortable being, remember I'm the extrovert, introvert, but being videoed. And right after the lockdown started, I said, I've got to be in front of them. And so I literally put the camera in front of my face and I just started talking to them. And then I posted it on Lunch Club Wednesday, and all of a sudden they started rising and saying, I've always wanted to do it too, Diana, like say something. And it was very spiritual. And again, another gain that has come from that. So I don't know. There's just, you asked earlier, has there been anything? And I go, as far as change, it's business as usual for me. So I don't have a lot of changes, but I got a lot of gains out of it.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've incorporated them, just like you guys have, so.
You know, we talk about gains and we talk about losses. You know, one of the things that I think that we have lost, this is just me thinking this, but it is something we talked about before we went on air, the ability to hug each other.
Right.
You know, the ability to have that human contact that we thrive upon. Inadvertently, when I came in a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody I hadn't seen in a while, and I grabbed his hand and started shaking it, and realized, wait, we can't do that. Dan came in and said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but those types of things, you know, we long for that,
Yeah.
and I think it's pent up in us, and
Yeah.
you know, we really would like to have that. One thing you don't get from a video screen, and we're doing a lot of video screen stuff. You just mentioned that. It's good because it does allow us to keep in contact, but at the same time, we lose that human touch, and we lose the ability to look somebody right in the eye,
Yep.
because eyes communicate more than you would ever dream, and it's just.
And the eyes will be very important with all the masks.
Yeah.
I've noticed that, it's like, oh my gosh.
That's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
These masks are about everywhere.
Yeah, we still have a lot to learn from this, and you know, I can just only hope, like, we're lucky because, and when I say lucky, we are blessed. We are blessed because we are plugged into our community, and not everyone is. And I know, like, even through Lunch Club, what I learned, the reason women were coming is they were trying to find a place that they could come and feel connected. And so, you know, with everything that you're
That's true.
doing,
Yeah.
you're doing this church, the church across the street, the church down the road, there's a place for people to get plugged in. So if you're listening today and you're just like, wow, you know, they have so much going on, you know, how can I be a part of that? You just, and show up.
To get a friend, you have to be a friend.
That's right.
Yeah, the doors
That's
are
kind of
open.
trite, but it's the truth. You know,
Yeah.
you have to reach out to, you can't just,
People are there.
can't just be in your little spot, right?
No, but I guess my point is, don't be afraid. We're all the same. We're all in this together. You know, we may look like we're strong, but we got weaknesses too. I
All of
mean,
us do, sure.
climbing that ladder every day.
That was another discussion we've had, and that is, you know, sometimes we feel a lack of self-worth. You know, it just happens because the bottom line, that's Satan's greatest tool, is he lays that on you. So this lack of self-worth can keep us from reaching out, can keep us from saying, no, God is using me, and he will use me, and I just need to be used, and I need to make myself available. And when you do that, instead of feeling all withdrawn, when you reach out, sometimes God uses us in ways that we could never have dreamt
Right.
that could happen. And it's a great thing. Well, I think
And
we're
it should-
about out of time. You've been a great panel.
Wow.
I really,
That went fast.
really
More to
did.
say.
It went very fast. It sure did. So I'd like to thank again Dusty Johnson, Diane L. Britton, and
Thank you.
Tanya Kahn for being with us
Thank
here
you.
today.
Thank you.
I'm John McClure, and so we'll sign off for this week, but may God bless you all and keep you during this time of crisis. Thank you.